What's up guys, David Falla here. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. On today's tutorial, we're going to be doing a texture crop top with a mid to drop fade. And the reason why it's going to be a drop fade on the back is because the client's head is a little bit flat on the back, so I want to create some depth, so the fade is going to be a little bit lower in the back. And that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do, we're going to set up our shape on the top, and that's what I usually do with all my haircuts. You don't have to necessarily start with the top. You can start with the sides, and many barbers do, but in my case, I think that when you cut the top first, it's easier for you to set up whatever shape you're trying to do, or the haircut. You can see how the haircut is going to look, and then it's a lot easier to fade down from there. So the first thing, we're going to separate the top from the sides using a horseshoe parting. Make sure that you pay close attention to what the cowlicks are on the back and in the front, and then use that as your guide. Now we're going to create what's called a block graduation, or pretty much what it is that we're going to create a guide for us to know where to stop with the fade and what's going to connect the top with the side. So this is what this guide is. You can create this guide depending on how much hair you want to leave on the sides. If you want it to be very bulky, then you can create more length. If you want a little bit more flush to the skin, then you can make it a lot shorter. So after you are done with that, we're going to cut the top. In this case, I'm over directing the front just a little bit and using point cutting to create texture. We're taking horizontal sections front to back just to create in this case, it's going to be a square shape, just because we are trying to create a balanced haircut, leaving the front just a little bit longer and being very careful where the cowlick is. Okay, now that I'm done with the top, I'm going to start connecting and clean up the sides. So something that is very important is to remove all the bulk that you're not going to use. Like, that makes it a lot easier to be able to start your haircut. Also, you want to start kind of connecting. So I'm fading down from the top using a number 3. And why a number 3? Because it's a big guard. In my case, that's all I use. I don't use anything longer than a 3, and the 3 connects right to the scissor work that I did at the beginning. So now that we did that, because his hair is really dark and I didn't want to make a mistake, I'm using a number 1 instead of number 0 to start removing that bulk. And pretty much this is going to allow me to see exactly how light the hair gets and where am I going to place my guide. Sometimes when you have a client with this much hair and you try to place that 0 and you place incorrectly, then it's going to kind of change what you want for the haircut. So in this case, just to be safe, I started with number 1, just to be able to clean up that canvas a little bit more, make it easier for me to know exactly when I want to place that number 0. Now we're going to place the number 0. In this case, I'm using my machine with the lever closed, and what I'm doing is I'm staying pretty much like around a finger underneath the line that I did with a number 1. So I have now a number 0, a number 1, and a number 3, which is what I used to remove the bulk. Now that I'm done with that guide, I'm using in this case, I'm using a detachable blade with 5 zeros, which is equal to a trimmer. So you can use your trimmer for this step. How you can see, I'm not going all the way to the number 0. I'm actually staying a little bit underneath, and that is because I want to make sure I start creating my fade. So when you create a fade, you have to make sure that you leave a little bit of space between each step. Now we will continue with our fading process. In this case, I'm setting up another guide. In this case, I'm using my electric shaver and I'm staying a little bit underneath the trimmer. So now I have the shaver, the trimmer, and then the 0, which we created with the machine with the lever closed. So remember, you gotta leave a little bit of space between each step, and want to set up your steps first and then blend them if you want together, or some people they create a line and then they erase it right away. In this case, what I'm doing, I'm kind of setting up all my guides and then I'm starting to blend all of them together. Now I'm continuing with my shaver. How you can see, I'm leaving a little bit of space between the shaver and the number and the trimmer and then the 0. Now we're going to start with number 2. With the number 2, we're going to start creating our fade. We're going to create a down fade in this case. So that number 2 lever close is going to connect with the 3 that we did. So now we have a 3, a 2, a 1, and a 0. So as you guys can see, it makes it very easy when you start with a number 3 instead of starting with like a bigger guard. Okay, in this case, I'm going to start erasing the 0 now. And why am I erasing the 0 now? Because remember, a lot of people have problems with the number 0. So what I decided to do in the middle of the haircut was to show you guys how I will erase the number 0 first, just in case that you are one of those people that have problems with this guide. If you are having problems with this guide, what I recommend you is to get rid of that line first. Like that, you don't have to leave at the end and then make it harder on yourself, and then maybe you end up going too high on the fade or making more lines and it just becomes a mess. So sometimes just getting rid of that first guide makes everything a lot easier and more comfortable for you. So and now all you gotta do is, once that erased, you are connecting just with the 1, you're connecting the 1 to the 2, and then that's all you gotta really do. Okay, now that we are done with the number 1, we still had a little bit of dark spaces and little things that needed to be light up. So I'm using a half or a 0.5. In this case, I'm using the Wool Senior, so it will be the half. And I'm using the half to kind of like retouch anything that I see. With the real trick with this guard is not to close the lever all the way. You want to start with the lever open and then close it a little bit. Most likely you don't have to close it all the way, because sometimes what happens when you close it all the way, you end up making another guide. So what happens is that sometimes you just need to use it a little bit to light up some places, and that's all you gotta do. Always remember, when you're fading, you kind of keep the machine very loose in your hand so you don't create harsh lines for yourself. You actually create very soft guides that are very easy to blend into each other. How you can see, you start seeing the fade coming in together. All I'm doing right now is going back to my steps, just retouching whatever I see that is darker. Very important, use your mirror if you are like a beginner or even intermediate barber and your eyes are not like already adjusted to be able to see dark spots and things like that. Then use your mirror, because your mirror will tell you exactly what you need to do. Also, maybe if you cannot see in your mirror for whatever reason, then maybe you can use your phone to see what's missing. Okay, now that we are done with that, I apply a hot towel, apply a little bit of shaving gel, and now I'm just using my razor to create my shape up. In this case, all I'm doing is just kind of following what the grow pattern is, following the natural line, and that's it. Super simple. You can see the fade looks very good. The top has a lot of texture. You can see it doesn't even have product, and look how texture it is already. And now I'm doing his eyebrows. My client has a lot of hair, so I do his eyebrows, I do his beard. He has an awesome beard, and then he has a lot of hair, so it's a full service. But you know what, this is one of my best clients, and you know, like I try to go all out for him, because you know he has the hair for me to be able to do a great haircut. And that's a point that I want to touch really quick, is that sometimes you're gonna have clients that don't have the best hair, the best head, the best texture to be able to do this crazy haircut. So if you do find one of those clients, let's see if you know, he lets you try different styles so you can learn and you can give them those best haircuts that look great for social media, and that you know it's gonna get all the attention. So that will be one of those clients, which is not every client. So as you can see, the haircut looks great, the top looks very nice and texture with a great shape. For him, this is how he looked at the beginning. You guys can see it was a big difference. That's what I love about cutting hair, is like, look how it looks like a different person once the haircut is done. So that's it, guys. That's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and like it. And if you have any comments, leave it obviously in the comments below. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.